Okay, you all read the title. Today I'm going to be giving you, the viewer, 5 needed tips for you to enlist yourself into willful slavery. Wait, what's that? I got the wrong script for the video? Oh shit, let me check real quick. Nope, it's the right one. Now if you don't know what a webtoon even is, then allow me to point you into the direction of this card on screen right here. That way once you come back, you can leave some crappy hate comment asking me why do people still do this in 2024. But for the people who actually came to class with their homework done, let's get right down to business. But first, a word from this video's sponsor. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's get right into this. Now you may be scratching at the top of your head all confused as to why I said that, but for all the experienced webtoon creators watching this, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's that when you create a webtoon, you're just like everyone else on that canvas page. A person that's either doing this just for a hobby, or because you might actually want to make a career out of this for some reason. And if you're in either situation, that's okay, but if you want to grow out of it, then you're going to have to stand out from the rest. And no, that does not mean you have to write a story where a bunch of furries go to school and the two main protagonists are a student and teacher in an almost illegal relationship. And that definitely doesn't mean that you have to write a story where two male cousins get together. Like, all you have to really do is add some unique twist to your webtoon that'll make it stand out from the rest in its genre. Whether it be romance or horror, you should always keep some level of intrigue to your story that'll actually make the readers want to come back. The closest example I can think of is this. Let's say you're writing a romance webtoon and you want it to stand out. How about instead of writing a story where the two end up together at the end, you instead write a story where they're already together to begin with. But due to being from two different walks of life, with one being rich and the other being poor, their families are highly against the relationship, so they spend the entire story trying to get their families to accept one another while also overcoming their own biases and flaws to become a better couple for each other, as they promised to get married when they were first childhood friends and want to keep that promise because they both felt like they were cut from the same cloth, just stitched into different clothes. And if that idea sounds good enough for you, then that means that you, the viewer, can do it as well. Because I like to imagine that the frog knows the height of the sky but not the depth of the sea. And if I'm a frog, and the sky is the amount of success a webtoon can generate, then the sea must be the creative potential of the viewers watching this video. After all, I'm sure there are plenty of you watching this that are actually talented, but just don't even know it or even realize it yet. So if what I said applies to you and you want to try something new, don't even try it. Stay complacent and unambitious. Stay at the bottom so that I have a better chance to reach the top. That way, when I look down on you, I'll know that I've won and made someone else unsuccessful because of it. Because it's not enough for me to succeed. I must see other people fail miserably. But on another note, I recommend you add this unique twist of yours to the main character, just so that they don't end up like this guy before his series ended. Now I know this may seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised at how stupid people can be. I mean, you can literally have a group of people protesting oil while making cars stop in traffic for hours. So it's safe to say that even one of the people watching this video needs to hear this section the most, as planning out your story can help you utilize the best tool a writer can ever have, the eraser. Because oftentimes when you're writing a story, you can get a bit too into it and create a long, dragged out story that realistically speaking should have ended 300 pages ago. Now see, there's nothing wrong with the long story until there is, and you'll know there's a problem when most of your comment section looks like this. So how do you avoid this conundrum? Well, for starters, you should try to gauge just how long you can tell your story just from its premise, as a story with a mildly interesting premise should get a medium length treatment of around 100 pages long. And if that advice is not good enough for you, then how about you call me DJ Khaled, because I'm about to give you another one. Try writing your webtoon as a manga volume with around 12 to 18 chapters, and gauge just how many volumes you want your story to be based on its premise. Because if the premise is good enough for 13 volumes with 12 chapters each and is well paced all throughout, then you've practically leveled up from beginner to intermediate. And I don't say master because if that was the case you wouldn't be watching this video. But always keep in mind the difference in length for manga and webtoon, as what you could probably say in just 12 pages in a manga volume chapter might not translate well in a 12-page webtoon episode. This also goes for the entire length of each volume you may write, as you may end up writing about 4 to 7 pages for each chapter, only to realize that those same 4 to 7 pages will end up translating to about 30 to 50 pages for each episode on your webtoon. Now hold up, because I can see you through the screen just overthinking about that length as your anxiety is about to kick in, and allow me to help you. It's fine to have a long webtoon as long as it's still good, and having long episodes isn't a problem either. The only time a problem occurs is when the episode that you just posted adds nothing new to the series as a whole, yet is long enough to be read in 5 minutes, and that's if you're skimming through it. So just make sure that when you're planning out your story, you have an actual conceivable idea of how long it should be, and the length of each episode. Because while most people don't need a blueprint, those same people do need a floor plan. Now this section is more of a blue pill and red pill kind of section, so just bear with me here. I'll give you the blue pill first since that's easier to swallow. Also, it's on the shorter end due to this advice being really that simple and not complicated enough to be drawn out. Anyways, if you want the best results for a webtoon, one of the best things you can do is find an art style that you can easily draw en masse. That way you can maximize the amount of chapters you release while also keeping the same level of quality all throughout. This also helps the viewer stay interested in the webtoon you're making, as you not only provide consistency but also a good quality product. Alright, now that I've given you the blue pill, it's time I give you the red pill. No, not that one, the other one. While everything I said earlier does sound nice, don't expect it to not be veteran difficulty, as making a webtoon isn't as easy as everyone leads you to believe, and it's actually one of the most difficult and physically taxing jobs you can have. And if you need proof of that, you can find a link to both of these videos in the description. But enough violin playing. How do you actually achieve what I said earlier? Well, it's best if you don't already have a set art style, as you'll be more flexible to this advice. But if you're one of the people that already has a set art style, then I guess you could always just do this. As for finding an art style, you want to make sure it comes with these two things: easy to draw and decent enough to look at. Once you get this down, you'll want to factor making this webtoon into your daily schedule, as this will let you get a good sense of whether or not your art style is easy enough to draw en masse. And it will also help you put out chapters more frequently, which will satisfy the needs of people who watch your content. And if you're making a webtoon with a ton of females in it, you can bet that at least 70% of your audience got caught like this by their parents at the age of 13 plus. But enough rambling on that point, as I'm sure the people watching this want me to get on to the next point. So editor, do me a favor and use the rotate CW second transition. Huh, I texted little Jimmy just before I started this video and he hasn't responded back. I wonder what's keeping him held up. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I was still giving advice. Alright, where am I on the script that I wrote at 3 AM? Oh right, section number 4. I'm just glad it's not section number 8, because then I would have to keep a close eye on my belongings. That's racist! Off-putting racist jokes aside, the reason I put this section in the video, even though it might not have anything to do with the actual video, is not just for watch time hours, but also for the fact that marketing yourself as a webtoon creator is one of the most underrated skills in the entire industry. Because let's be real here. How many of you watching this actually focused on marketing your webtoon more than you did on its art style or story? Exactly. And while there's nothing wrong with focusing more of your time on those two, rather than marketing your webtoon, which you should be doing by the way, there is something wrong with not properly advertising your webtoon so that more people can see it. Now you may look at my numbers on YouTube Shorts and then look at how many views my webtoon has and laugh at me for my inconsistency, to which I can't really be mad at, but I can say that there's a reason you're not going to say that shit to my face. Also, you have to keep in mind that no matter how much you market your webtoon, most people are not going to click that link, especially if you can't hyperlink it. Looking at you, Team YouTube. I mean, let's be real here. It's just like being a salesman at your local Walmart. Most people might look your way, and a few of them might actually respond back when you talk to them, but a fairly small amount of them will actually go to your webtoon just to even look at it. And now that I've said that, let me just check the copium meter real quick. Yeah, I kinda expected that result. Because while it does sound like I'm coping, every content creator out there will tell you the same thing I'm telling you now. You don't start out with 100k subs or followers, and it'll typically take you at least 7 months if not a year to fully break out as a YouTuber and streamer. And that's if you're lucky. I mean, come on, Starfish Face, help me out here. That's what I'm saying, it's not failure, it's just a lack of success. And that's exactly what I've been trying to say to my parents every time I tell them I want to do this for a career. And while I'm at it, let's just get into how often you should post. Because you can't have an audience if you're not even going to show up yourself. If you have less than 100 subs or followers, you should try to post at least once a week on all of these platforms, especially if you want to get on Webtoon and become an original. Although, just a pro tip, if you're looking to be an original, then I'd suggest only focusing on YouTube and Twitter, and settling a Patreon later. Because if you post consistently enough on YouTube, you're gonna get clicks even if you don't enjoy the content you're making. And I don't even think I need to go over how much of a wild card the Twitter algorithm is, because I think everyone knows here that this webtoon looks infinitely better than this webtoon, yet this one only got as many views as it did because it was a romance webtoon. Ranting aside, I think the most that you can gain out of this section is to try to update your webtoon as consistently as you can without lowering your health bar, as well as posting enough edits and or promos of your webtoon. That way the chances of people actually seeing it are higher than your hopes and dreams. And if you followed all of those tips, then the only thing left to do is... Now that you listen to my sarcastic ranting, advice, you should be able to profit now from using it. Of course, that implies that you succeed, which a small part of me hopes you do, but on another note, since I helped you profit from this advice, it's about time I profit myself and do some shameless plugging while you're still here. Yeah, you didn't think this section would be the end of the video, did you? Well, how about that? My twists are just as good as M. Night Shyamalan, and I bet I met your expectations just as well as he often does. But in all seriousness, I'm currently working on a webtoon called Death Note ROBLOX, and it's about to get its new chapter in just a couple of days after this video's up. Also, fun fact, the background footage playing right now is the artwork of this new chapter being made, and it'll be a pretty good read, so you should go check it out if you haven't. And hell, I'd argue that after enough chapters, it'll be better than this overrated one. The link to Death Note ROBLOX will be down below, along with a tutorial on how to draw someone else's fetish. I'll also post another video on why I canceled this webtoon not too long after I made it. So if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe so that I can flex on all the baddies in my hood and prove to my parents that I can actually make this a career. Also, like the video and comment your thoughts so that other people can do what I told you to do earlier. And with that said, wait, what the hell is that noise? Jesus, what the hell could be making that noise? What the hell are you doing, son? And why did you let the cat watch you, little Timmy?